All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to do things a little different this week on Between Downs, so we'll see how you like it. Just let us know. But we're going to start off with Cody because he has something that's really been bugging him all week, and he wants to rant about it. So we'll let him speak his words.
Very rarely do I use the word hate. I hate Chris Collinsworth. In any game that he happens to call, it's just awful. Can he just stop? Like, that would be great. I was watching Cowboys Steelers, and he called a random Cowboy on their defense, the TJ Watt of the Cowboys. The TJ Watt of the Cowboys wasn't playing. The TJ Watt of the Cowboys is Micah Parsons. So no to that one. And you could tell, like, when he was talking, he wanted to say something about Patrick Mahomes, but, like, Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing. But you could tell, like, he was about to just be like, some quarterback make a decent play, and then I can say it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, why do we have to deal with announcers that have an absolute crush on a quarterback? I mean, we had to deal with it with Madden and Favre. Then we had to deal with it with John Gruden and Aaron Rodgers. That was probably one of the more funnier ones. And now we have dealing with Collinsworth and Mahomes. And I get it. Mahomes is a good quarterback. One of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. But you don't need to bring him into another game because you feel like that was necessary. And I get that they also have to call plays to where if you've never watched a game of football before, you can understand what they're doing. But the man's just trying to, like, throw what happens in life. Like, he was like, oh, this guy just didn't see other people coming and he got ran into. It's like, no, he did. He was the cameraman. He kind of has to stay there and get the shot. But sure, whatever. And the ball guy got taken out, and he was like, oh, it's like he needs to learn how to get out of the way. And it was like, he played in the NFL. You should know how fast the game is. Like, the ball boy's not going to get out of the way. Like, it's very, very tough to just see a play and just be like, oh, well, let me just go over here in less than a second. Can't do it. They're giant men that are moving very, very fast. Like, can we just have somebody else? I like what Tom is doing, because Tom has finally brought his enthusiasm for the game to the game. Yeah, that makes sense. Because he did the first one, and he was just Tom Brady, just like, yeah, that was a good play, and channeling his inner Belichick during his first game. And then now they're like, hey, you can be excited about the game. We want to hear your excitement. So then he's now starting to bring it. I'll take Tom over Collinsworth on any day of the week. Can we have Collinsworth and Joe Buck just go call games that nobody's heard of? Like, just let them, you know what? Let them call the flag games, the flag football games. Then we don't have to deal with it. That would be ideal. Because I'm having to watch football games on mute, and that's weird. Just because I'm having to often just randomly yell at the screen, it's like, yes, that's how life works, Chris. Like, how does life work for you? Like, can we get back to a football game now? It's like, yeah, we can, but I'm wondering what Patrick Mahomes is doing. Sure. That was the only thing I had. There was probably a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. Jacksonville still can't play in London, which I think is pretty funny. And at what point do you get rid of Doug Peterson? At what point do you get rid of Kevin Stefanski? You just got talent, but just not very great play. And then you have Nick Sirianni arguing with the crowd. Just don't really quite understand where some of these coaching decisions go. But that's all. That's all I have. That's all I have for today. not really for today, but just for this little segment, I just had to rant about Collinsworth for a little bit because I can't stand him. Thanks.
I think a lot of us can agree with you, Cody. I think we were tired of seeing the memes and gifs of Hawk Tua and Chris Collinsworth put together. Seen a lot of those. But, yeah, so let's go in with Donnie. He's got
my Instagram story?
some fantasy do's and don'ts. So.
That's the best one. You've been on my Instagram? Talking about Patrick. What Patrick Mahomes' ass fills in shorts. Whew, I tell you.
I think if they ever met, I think Collinsworth would ejaculate on the spot.
I mean, they've met, obviously.
If they, hugged, I think Collinsworth is just done. I think he'd be like, I have to go to the bathroom now, guys. It's like, yeah, we know what you're doing.
It's like, I got things. Stuff. Ugh. Welcome to Fantasy Corner. Sorry I missed last week. I was busy traveling.
We have lives, too.
Yeah, there were some good tips, though. I tell you what, man, you needed them.
Had some solid ones.
Yeah, some real good ones. It's pretty much the same stuff going through the main roster, the sneaky starts, the sits, and the risky plays. Always the fun ones. For my starting lineup, QB, gotta go Jane Daniels. He's versus the Panthers. They're the worst team versus the run. He's going to load up, shell out, and just ball out. Easy peasy. Next one, this one's a toss-up mainly just because of injury. Jonathan Taylor. If he plays, he will go all out. And he's versus a team where their run is just not very good at doing it. Makes sense. And a second running back, Brian Robinson Jr. They may focus more on Jane Daniels. He'll probably sneak in a touchdown or two, Brian Robinson. So definitely worth playing in the fantasy. Wide receiver-wise, you could do either wide receiver for Tampa Bay. I'm personally saying Chris Godwin because, again, Mike Evans garners number one cornerback potential looks. So Chris Godwin's going to be more wide open. It's going to be a shootout. Baltimore is number one in defense in terms of stopping the run, but they are 32 in stopping the pass. So obviously, it's going to flow in that way. And then, second one, St. Brown versus Minnesota. Minnesota, again, great at stopping the run, horrible at stopping the pass, has potential for a big shootout. I see him getting a lot of targets. Tight end-wise, I'm going to go with Brock Bowers. He's the only option there now, personally. Adams is gone. Myers is working an injury of some sort. Even if he does come back, Rams are in the bottom 5 of playing against fantasy tight ends. So definitely a smart play there. Bengals defense, obviously, I forget who they're versing, but it's someone not great. Bengals. Oh yeah, they're versing the Browns. My apologies.
Cleveland.
Well, I was correct in my summation. They're playing someone not great. Yeah, they're still starting Deshaun Watson. He's still the guy for some reason. Just traded away their number one pick. Chubb is coming back, but he's going to be on a limited snap count. It's probably going to be, very small plays, and Jerome Ford's playing injured as well. Bengals should have no problem stopping them up. And then kicker, I like Fairbairn. Houston's versus Green Bay. Going to be a back and forth, but I think Green Bay has a strong enough of a defense to probably stop Houston from getting maybe a touchdown or two. So instead, kicking field goals, maybe even some deep ones. We know he's got a big leg. Definitely start him. My sneaky starts, I got a few, just a couple, both running backs for this week. Tank Bigsby. He's versus New England. They're bottom 4 versus fantasy running backs. And he's taking over for Etienne. Etienne's also playing a little hurt. But even then, the writing was on the wall that Tank's kind of taken over. I don't see Etienne really getting that extra money that is coming up, especially with Tank doing what he's doing. So he's definitely a sneaky start. And then he's going to start in most leagues anyways because he's back from concussion. Devon Achane. First in the Colts, they're horrible against the run. They have that playmaking ability. There's still no Tua, which means wide receivers are iffy, probably looking for checkdowns. Achane's probably going to have a big game. My sits, only one this week, and I've talked about it when I was talking about the Tampa Bay-Baltimore game. Pretty much any Buccaneer running back. White, Bucky Irving, just sit them down. Baltimore is going to have they're going to be focusing on stopping that run, making Baker Mayfield pass. Just sit them. Unfortunately, this week, they are very, very touchdown dependent. Like, let's just say Godwin or Evans catches it and gets to the 1, maybe, but you're really hoping on a prayer for that. And then my risky starts, the ones that you got to play them, but they got some tough matchups. James Conner, he's versus the Chargers. Good defense. They maybe will not have Harrison with the concussion, so they're going to be focusing, that defense is going to be focusing more on the run, and they're already great at it. Plus, he had a bad game last week. Now, he's on a trend where it's good game, bad game, good game, bad game, but this matchup just feels a little iffy. Secondly is Davante Adams. Now, I know he knows the offense. I know he knows the QE, but he's still new to the team. He's got to understand it's not like a mirror image of his playbook in Green Bay. May take a game or two to just really gel and matching it back to that old form. So for this week, I got him as a risky play. And then third, David Montgomery. This is mainly just because they're versing Minnesota. They're great against the run. They're probably going to use Gibbs more, I would say, in a shootout passing type situation. So really, Montgomery is touchdown dependent in this game. He has the ability to do it, and if Lions come out and pull a mainstay like they did versus Dallas this past week, then great on you. But just don't be surprised if he doesn't have a great game unless he gets a touchdown. And that's it for Fantasy Corner.
All right, a lot of interesting stuff going on this week.
Yes.
I mean, with the trades, Devontae Adams, do you think he steps right in as the number 1 wide receiver? Like when he
Just
finally
regardless
gets to
because of
practice?
his name, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Wilson stays 1?
Check that. Did I mess it up? Okay. I got big feet.
Does Wilson stay 1? Or does he step down to 2?
It's more like a 1A, 1B situation.
I would say it depends on what Aaron Rodgers says. Because it just seems like that they're not going off any other direction than what Aaron Rodgers is going to say that they need to go.
I mean, for me, like I just said, Adams, he's coming in to a new team, a similar system, but Hackett's not calling the plays now. Someone else is. So he's got to kind of learn that little bit from him. So like I say, it may take a game or two, but we'll see. I mean, but it's going to eventually come to where Adams is the number 1 because he's going to garner that attention just because his name's Davante Adams. And you're Garrett Wilson. You know, it's nice. It's a nice name, but it doesn't have the vibrato. Yeah, it doesn't carry the weight. It doesn't have the clout that Davante Adams has.
Yeah, and we all remember in Green Bay, like when they got down on the 1 yard line, which was why a lot of people didn't like having Aaron Jones. They threw the ball to Davante Adams.
I hate it so much.
A lot. And it's like you have Aaron Jones in the backfield, and you're first and goal on the 1, and you're going to throw a quick slant to Davante Adams. Don't get me wrong, scored a lot.
Yeah, or fade route.
Yeah. It's like, come on. You have Aaron Jones back there. Which
But they do it
also-
on first down.
I know,
Like,
that's
dude,
what I'm saying.
if it's third, maybe second if you're trying to get him a little bit. First down, hand the ball off. See what you get.
I mean, I've benefited from it. I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was last year, year before last. It was Davante Adams, Travis Kelce, both. I think it was a Sunday night or a Monday night game. They both went for like 4 touchdowns each. They both went.
That was like the year he had like 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they both had. I had both of them. I was losing by like 60 points going into that game with both of them. I ended up winning, and I'm like, if you'd have told me I was losing by 60 and I was going in with those two and I'd win, I'd be like, you're crazy. Like,
You're
don't
going
get
to
me
tell
wrong.
me someone was going to score less than 90 points and I was going to lose by 20 this week. I would have told you probably. Oh, you're talking about my $25 league. Yes, that's correct.
Oh man,
They rot in hell.
another trade I saw today though, Cam Akers
Yeah.
traded to Minnesota. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's still Cam Akers, but I think he'll be a solid. I think he'd step into number 2, the backup.
I think they're
Minnesota.
kind of a little bit sick of Ty Chandler. A little bit. He's had some issues holding on
Onto
to
the ball. Yeah.
And he just needs someone to back up Aaron Jones, who does have some injury issues, history, so it's possible. And he wasn't going to do much when Joe Mixon came back. And Damian Pierce showed, hey, I was great as a rookie, guys. Don't forget, I can still run the ball. So, yeah, it wasn't surprising to me. I mean, now it's like, what's the next
trade?
big trade?
Yeah.
I know it was crazy. We had 2 blockbuster trades in one day with Amari Cooper. It wasn't even a deadline.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I wouldn't say out of nowhere. Like we saw the Devontae Adams one, but I didn't see the Amari Cooper one coming.
Well, the deal with
Like
Cooper,
they talked about it, and their offense is
well,
terrible.
they talked about it because one, he's on last year of his contract. He was in talks with like the Brandon Ayuk trade if San Francisco was going to do something with Cleveland, and yeah, again that offense is terrible. And it's like you might as well get what you can for him before you can't
it's
get
too late.
anything at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, what they got a third rounder, I think, out of him.
They got him in a fourth, I think, and they gave up a third and a sixth, something like that. Yeah, something similar to that. They gave up 2 picks, and they got Amari Cooper in a pick. And the pick that they got was like in between the ones that they gave up.
Yeah,
I
I think Cleveland got a third rounder for him.
Yeah, I think it was
sure.
they got like a third and a sixth or seventh, and they
conditional,
got
something like
Cooper
that.
in like a fourth or a fifth. Yeah, yeah, and
I
one of
thought it was
the
like-
picks
I
is
thought it was
conditional.
like a seventh or
I
something.
thought it was a 6. I thought it was 6.
It might have been,
Yeah,
but
6,
one of the
I thought
picks
they gave. I
was
thought they got
conditional.
a 3 and a 7, and they gave up him in a 6.
Well, I can look real quick and see. I can't remember exactly what it was because, I mean, to be fair, Devontae Adams was the big trade today. But I think Amari Cooper helps their offense.
I know. It was like when Farrah Fawcett died, and then an hour later Michael Jackson was dead. You're like, we don't really care about that one.
Yeah, you picked the wrong time.
Yeah.
I think
One
it was
day
just-
earlier, girl, you got it.
I think it was just they had to have Devontae set the market because I think they were probably going to trade for Cooper anyway or trade for somebody if they just needed a receiver to go
needed somebody,
to,
yeah.
to set the market because as soon as that trade happened, they were like, oh, they gave up a second for him. It was like,
Yeah.
we'll give up a third for him. It was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. I think more impactful. I think
Cooper in a sixth.
I think Amari Cooper is going to be more impactful than Devontae Adams is because that Jets offensive line is not
It's
good.
terrible, yeah.
So you can't get him the ball if you can't throw him the ball
You
to begin
can't
with.
do deep routes with him. But he's a great route runner, and he's able to do short stuff, like obvious. So
So they got Bills got Cooper in a sixth, and they gave up a third and a seventh.
there it is.
Yeah.
that felt right. Yeah. Which I think to get a third,
That's
I mean, getting a third for Amari, that's pretty solid. Not
Yeah.
to say like Amari's bad, but it's like he just moves from team to team now. Like he's not like.
but he produces.
Like
each
I
team he's
forgot
at.
that I forgot that he was a Raider for the longest time because last time I remember it was like Cowboys and it's like well now he's with Cleveland now he's a Bill. See if he stays there. I mean, we'll
in
see.
each year that he's actually gotten the targets, he goes for 1,000 yards.
And you know he's like 30.
Yeah.
I believe
I didn't even know he was 30. It felt like so long ago.
Because I
when
think
he was
Dallas traded him
drafted.
before his rookie contract ran out.
I really don't know. I thought he was with the Raiders. Then they traded him.
Yeah, I think
Then
the Raiders
they-
traded him
then
to the Cowboys.
Amari
I thought he got
signed.
drafted to the Cowboys.
No, he got drafted to the Raiders.
Oh,
He got drafted to
and
the
then he
Raiders, then he got traded
then he
to the Cowboys.
and then the Cowboys traded him to.
I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
He's a couple steps away from being a Brandon Cook style journeyman. Just
Yeah.
Just a little better.
you produce, you just are
Brandon
everywhere.
Cooks has like one game a year.
That's all he needs.
Yeah, Cooper can still be a number one depending on the team, which team he goes to, and he went to a team that
He can
doesn't
be the
have
number
a
one.
number one. Like he
Yeah.
will be the number one walking in there, but he has the ability to down the line turn into a great two. I would say, you know, like an Adam Thielen deal. Like you had your years, and now, hey, just be the guy. We know what you can do, but let this monstrosity
Do his work.
do what he's got to do. Essentially, right now that's not the same with Adams and Wilson. I do think it's a 1A 1B situation a
Yeah.
teeny bit down the road, and this is more of. I mean, I know Adams' last 2 years of his contract are kind of voided, so it's not guaranteed. So it's like, could this be just a pit stop? Does he re-sign to stay with Rodgers as long as he can, and then go to wherever the hell Derek Carr is going to be at if he's not with the Saints, or does he ride it out and then once it comes time to sign Garrett Wilson, then they got a decision to make? You know, that's a little different. Like I think Garrett Wilson be able to learn. Like I'm not saying he wasn't learning from Allen Lazard or anything like that, but
Adams is a better person to learn from. I feel like.
exactly. Like,
Well, Lazard was like a number 2 even when he was in Green Bay. Like he was supposed to be the number 1.
3 sometimes.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was a 2.5.
But yeah, and having Adams now, it's like he can be a teacher for like, hey, when I played with Rodgers, I literally got all the targets. The only time I didn't get the targets is when I wasn't on the field.
One time I get it was when he just wasn't in the game.
Yeah. Or I just tripped and fell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I mean, if he was open or even downfield somewhere, Rodgers was just like, hey,
throwing it, yeah.
Devontae Adams down there somewhere. Let's throw it to him.
Yep,
And get
see
it to
what
him.
happens.
So, I mean, yeah, I'm curious to see what more trades will happen. I think there's still some teams like obviously Pittsburgh still needs a wide receiver. We'll see.
Mike Williams is going to be coming up for availability. That's for
true.
damn sure. You can get him for a bag of peanuts now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big receiver. He's got speed, but he's always injured.
Yeah.
It seems like
Always running the wrong route, dropping the ball. I mean, his resume is ugh.
And then the Bills, I mean, they signed Curtis Samuel in the offseason, and they used him a little bit last game. They used him a lot in the preseason, but it's like you brought somebody in and you're not using it all. Shakir's been great in that offense.
We'll see. There's going to be some buyers around the deadline. Definitely the Lions with the Hutchinson injury. They're going to be looking to shop for a DN for sure, a pass rusher. People are saying the Raiders, since they already sold Adams, they're looking to sell again for Crosby. And just completely blow this thing up.
Well, even Crosby said that. He was
new.
like, if Adams goes, I go, is what he said.
Well, yeah, but he also said I'm a Raider for life, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to trust that.
He's probably, if there's any player in the league that looks like a Raider, it's him.
Yeah, considering he's got like half of them tattooed on his body. But I mean, he's got ties to Michigan. He was born in Michigan, did high school ball, I think in Texas, but then went to Eastern Michigan for school. So he's got ties to that area. So if there was a team that he would definitely go to, I think it would be Detroit. Plus, they're probably the favorite in the NFC right now, in my eyes. Especially after
the last power
whooping
rankings I saw had them at 1, and Chiefs dropped to 2. So, and but they're both right there. Like
the undefeated Chiefs.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll tell you, didn't do that poll, Chris Collinsworth.
Collinsworth probably voted him number 1 all the time.
Or what's that guy's the guy's name that does the quarterback mountain?
Nick Wright.
Yeah, he always has Mahomes at the top. Doesn't matter.
It's Mahomes Mountain.
It is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mahomes probably hands down the best quarterback in the NFL.
Gotta beat him to just
But
win.
from season to season, he doesn't always have the best seasons for quarterbacks. So it's like I get having him at the top.
I think it's more
like this year if they had him there and he's like, yeah, he didn't play, but it's still Mahomes, so he had him at the top. And I'm like, I mean,
yeah, I think it's just more. You know what you're getting when you get Mahomes.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a guy who's gonna do enough to get you that W, or he's going to completely blow the doors off and get you the win. But, it's 50-50. But, yeah, after the Hutchinson injury, their Lions are definitely going to be shopping, especially with them being Super Bowl contenders.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders' phone's already ringing. After Adams,
sure,
I bet
I'm
you
sure
the moment Adams left, they were probably like, teams are blowing him up for...
Well, the way I'm looking at it, Raiders have phoned this season in. I don't believe Pierce will be fired. I think they're like, you kind of just got the short end of the stick here.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of Gardner Minshew. His second year is Kaputski. They're going to draft a quarterback. Yeah. Just spend all this money. I don't know what the cap space is, but getting Devontae off your books and not having to pay Max Crosby, he's definitely going to open up some doors like old Sharon Stone. And and then they're just gonna be like, we're in rebuild mode right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say there were talks of them like selling house, getting rid of
It makes sense.
The big contracts that they have that teams will take.
I mean, it makes sense to me because it's like
get draft capital while you're at. I mean, just try to get draft capital and let Pierce build the team he wants.
Yeah,
because he did have a good. I mean, he coached the last 6 games last year, something like that.
I think
they went 5-1, or was it the
I think
6?
They almost got to the playoff.
Yeah, they almost got to the playoffs with him. So it's like, let him, give him a chance. This year was terrible because, quarterback situation's trash. Devontae Adams was hurt.
Yeah,
we all know who that is. And then Crosby.
People making business decisions.
Yeah,
passed a physical immediately when he got to the
Yeah, incredible. Showed up that day to make sure this thing got done.
I saw a meme earlier. It was like Devontae Adams leaving Oakland and arriving to the Jets, and it was him walking weird. I'm pretty sure it was the scene from Scary Movie with Officer Doofy. He's like walking.
You're probably thinking of it's either that or it would be.
It didn't show the rest. It just showed his feet.
Yeah, it'd either be that or it would Kevin Spacey, Unusual Suspects. But it was probably Officer Doofy.
Yeah, because he's like walking all, and then out of nowhere he just starts walking normal. And I'm
that's Usual Suspects too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, so I have no idea.
Eating his Kaiser
as soon as I saw it, though, I immediately thought Scary Movie. I'm
Kevin Spacey, Kaiser Soze.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I have to look at that. But yeah, I haven't seen that one. But that was his first movie
Stephen
I thought of.
Baldwin's in it too. Benicio del Toro. Forget the other two. I know the guy from One Thing.
Little guy.
Who's the little guy?
Peter
I was
English?
talking, no.
Not that little.
When you say little guy.
It's killing me. I can't remember who the dude on the far the two on the far left. I don't know their names, but I've seen them in things, and they're in stuff.
That's very descriptive.
Yeah.
They're in stuff.
They are in.
You had the first three of the lineup. You just need to.
No, I got all the way to the right.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's on the right, and then Stephen Baldwin, Benicio del Toro's in the dead middle, and they're laughing so much because he was like farting in the police lineup, like for real. So in the scene, they're all like giggling about how they had to read their lines, and Benicio del Toro's just farting up a storm, and they're all smelling it, so they're laughing.
And they love
God, that's gonna kill me. Look it up.
Your phone's right there.
I know it is crazy, but yeah, there's definitely I'm excited for. I think trade deadline is November 8th.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's November 8th. So they definitely will. Oh my, Kevin Pollak. I'm an idiot. And Gabriel Byrne. That's the dude where it's like I know him in things, but forgot Kevin Pollak's in it.
Cody, how about your Broncos?
How about him?
I mean, Bo Nix is starting to get a little more credit. He's starting to play a little bit better.
He's starting to play, and they're understanding that sometimes he just has to run for his life to make plays happen. The one thing I didn't understand is you're on the one, and you're like, hey, we have actual like a power back and Javonte Williams behind him. And it's like, should we hand it him? No, just let Bo Nix sneak it. It'll be okay. It's like he just ran down the field. We don't really want him to get hit.
I have Javonte Williams. Trust me.
He's our quarterback. He's our quarterback. He's like, nah, just send him. It's fine.
Sean Payton's got no doesn't a pussy under center. You know.
I agreed with that a little bit more than I agreed with the Detroit Lions. You're out there calling trick plays.
Meanwhile, Gibbs is the only one that had scored a damn touchdown.
They're having fun. Let them have fun.
I had
Up 30, you throw it to the tackle on first and goal, like already up 30. I'm just like,
stop. Yeah, why are you doing what you're doing?
just
Well, I think they're doing it
Meanwhile,
because
hand the football off.
I think I messaged you about it because
Put
I'm
the
like,
backups
all I
in
needed
next
to hit
series.
on my pick six was a Gibbs touchdown. I literally hit everybody else, and I'm like, they scored like 30 points. And I'm like, I look at it, and I'm like, almost every Lion scored a touchdown at this point, except Gibbs. I'm like, what's going on here? They had 2 rushing touchdowns. You couldn't share those?
Yeah, freaking Laporta, one catch for 52
one
yards.
and a touchdown.
52 yards
I think Jameson Williams, he got a touchdown too.
Played
didn't he?
against him.
on a reverse flea flicker. Like, that was it.
Yeah,
On some stupid shit.
I mean, David Montgomery had 2 rushing touchdowns. I'm like, Gibbs was there. He couldn't get one? Nope.
Montgomery's the
One
power
touchdown?
back. I can't help that.
I was like, and I was looking at, I think it was my picks. Let me look. Because I'm pretty sure that was the only one I needed, was a Gibbs touchdown. Because his over-under was half a touchdown. I'm like, okay, that should be pretty easy, I think. They just get one.
Is that a field goal? You just get a field goal? Does it count?
Does that count? Does that make it a push?
Is it this one? Oh, no, and then Kyler Murray screwed me. Because their offense was straight atrocious.
It's been trash.
They put up 13. But I picked him going over 1.5. I just needed 2 touchdowns. He got 1. I hit literally everything else. I got Lamar Jackson over 223 yards. He threw for 279. Jane Daniels over 228. He threw for 247. Derrick Henry over 1 touchdown. He ended up scoring 2. Hunter Henry over 3.5 targets. He finished with 5.
Targets?
Targets.
You can bet on targets.
You can bet on
You can
targets.
bet on, hey, you don't got to catch
Well,
it. Just
I figured-
get the fucker thrown to
I
you.
would have picked receptions, but I was like, they have targets available, and I'm like, and Drake May, it's his first game starting. I'm like, tight end's going to
Swing it
be.
He did pretty well.
He did
though.
do well. And
I liked what I saw.
And Hunter Henry got the targets late, but I was like, he's the safety net, having a tight end like him. So I'm like, he'll get targets. I'm like, at least it's just targets, because I don't think he ended up with that many catches. I think he had like 2 catches.
Yeah.
And then I picked Chuba Hubbard over 80.5 total yards. He went for over 100.
Yeah.
All he needed was that other touchdown from Kyler Murray. That was it.
Oh, so Gibbs, you didn't have to.
No,
have
Gibbs I think was on my DraftKings. That was my prize.
Seems very. Very adamant
Let's see.
about that.
No. I know I had him on there. Let me see.
I trust
my
you.
recent one.
Trust me. No.
Yeah, this one I would have won. I hit 4 out of the 6. I would have won money if Gibbs would have gotten it, like instead of breaking even. Because I had Bo Nix over 21.5 rushing yards. I think he finished with like 50 something. Yeah, like
the man likes to run.
Yeah. Fields, same
He
thing.
likes to run.
I had Fields over
has to.
39.5 rushing yards.
Has to, yeah.
Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And Justin Herbert over 28.5 attempts. But then I had Ezekiel Elliott with over 19.5 total yards. The man got 17.
Yeah.
17
It
yards.
was a bad day to be a Cowboys fan.
I'm like 19.5.
It's
It's
always
bad. It's always bad to be a Cowboys
But
fan.
that one was just
And then the
a
Gibbs.
fucking
The .5.
shit show. I was at like a restaurant, waiting, and the game was on, and the Steelers game was on like one television. This bar is covered with TVs, and all I'm watching is the fucking Lions. And I'm like, it's over by halftime. What are we doing here? Can I change this shit? But we'll see.
Yeah, that was a rough game. Cowboys fans.
Very rough.
Surprised we didn't see a lot of clips of people breaking their TVs.
Well, that brings
but-
me to my next one: coaching hot seats. Who do you think is next on the list? I think everyone's biggest, most obvious answer is Doug Peterson with Jacksonville. But who's like that next guy? Who's that one that's just like?
I think it's got to be Stefanski.
It's not going to be Stefanski. And I was hoping one of you two was going to say that because every time it's brought up, he's a 2-time coach of the year. He's a 2-time coach of the year. It's the quarterback's fault. It's 2-time coach of the year. It's like, look, he won one coach of the year award because he got the Browns a playoff win, which I guess good on you.
Sure.
But does that get you coach of the year because you took a franchise that's deep in shit and
to the playoffs.
took them to the playoffs? Is that all it takes?
I think
like
Nick
the bar
and
is
Philly-
set. The bar is set.
Sirianni,
Yeah.
But my thing is, the bar is set so much higher for other coaches.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind, like who they pick sometimes. Because if Andy Reid, just got his team to the AFC Championship, blah, 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 like he should probably win Coach of the Year every year if that's what we're fucking doing.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, oh, Kevin Stefanski, takes a shit Browns team for 1 year, gets them to the playoffs, and now suddenly, oh, they're the same old fucking Browns again.
And I wouldn't even say it was Stefanski. Joe Flacco came in and was throwing for 300 yards.
Flacco.
Yeah.
And he's doing the same thing in
Well, they're
Indy.
saying it because it's like an
Oh, Daddy
offensive
Flacco.
mind. Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're saying Deshaun's playing so bad that, it's not Stefanski's fault. It's Deshaun's fault. And also your O-line is shit. But it's like, dude, you're the one still keeping him in.
That's true.
Sit him. Play Jameis just to
Play
see
Jameis.
what's going on.
Bring in Jameis.
I mean, you're stuck paying him the money anyways.
yeah,
Like, is that what you're thinking you got to do?
I
Like,
think they're trying to find some
he
way
could be a very expensive paper
to get out of it.
There's only one way to do it, and it's how everyone's saying it. They got to
Cena
trade
set up a
their
sting
pick.
operation?
No, they got
Oh,
to trade their pick. They got to pay a team to take that contract. Like when the Texans took Brock Osweiler and got a pick from the Broncos, they're like,
old
can you
Osweiler.
just take this off of our hands? You have so much money.
Get rid of him.
Here's a first rounder.
I think
and,
the Patriots are
and
the
our
best.
quarterback.
The Patriots are the best at putting in a quarterback that was like a nobody. They have 4 or 5
Here.
good games, and then they're like, yeah, we'll trade him around, but we want at least a second round pick. We know what we got. And then they go somewhere and they're like, yeah, he's shit. Our team's just good
he's
everywhere else.
trash.
I mean,
No, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's
That
the only
castle.
time it's happened with the whole
Career
Brock
record.
Osweiler. He had
Garoppolo.
one good year, signed a $72 million contract, and then they're shocked that he sucks, so you got to get all that off the books. They literally had to pay a team a first rounder to do it. Now, to get Deshaun Watson's contract off the books,
I have to give him a couple.
you definitely got to get a
Yeah.
number one, and that number one better be a top 5. 1,000%. Because people are saying oh, you could maybe Carolina, got connections there, knows the area. They're gonna have a lot of fucking money. Lord knows they could use the first round pick, and odds are they're gonna be having one themselves. And then you just cut them, and then you take the dead cap hit and call it a day.
and they've showed so far with having Andy Dalton that if they have a quarterback who can sling it, their offense
They got a
can
quarterback
produce.
that can see over the line.
That's true too. That's true too.
Maybe someone who has physical arm talents instead of just something okay between the ears.
I mean,
you can learn that later on.
I don't think any of us thought that Bryce Young was really going to be anything spectacular when he came to the NFL. I mean, he was good in college. But
I thought it was situational.
Yeah, exactly.
And unfortunately, he went to a shitty situation with a shitty owner, and you started right away.
I've never been a fan of rookie quarterbacks starting right away. I'd rather them sit behind somebody for at least a year.
I'm okay with it, but you got to realize when it's time to pull the plug. And everyone's saying, like, oh, I don't want to wreck his confidence. Like, you know what's wrecking his confidence? Getting sacked 8 times a game, and everyone in the media is saying, oh, he's a bust. You know, you're going to have some guys that can do it. C.J. Stroud, Ben Roethlisberger. And then you're going to have some guys that just can't hang and do it, and then they need a year or two to sit. Now, I understand they're a number 1 overall pick. And how that goes, if you're number 1 overall,
you're expected.
You're playing.
Yeah.
You are playing irregardless. And the big thing with that is like you were number 1 overall pick for a reason. It's because the team fucking sucks.
And there's quarterbacks that have done that in the past, and they were like Peyton Manning, because we all know his rookie season was terrible. His interception record still stands.
And it does. Because they
but
didn't
it's
let
like
Jameis play.
Exactly.
Jameis
that's
play.
True. But if they would have pulled him right away, who knows if we'd had Peyton Manning that we had.
Yeah.
If they'd kept pulling him.
And again, that's
they
the
just
thing.
let him play.
But and that's what you're told to do. But then it's like you can't be shocked. But it's like also
you can't blame him if he's thrown into a shit situation.
But
and he doesn't play right away.
But also Peyton Manning, 6'5", 250 pounds, leaves a rocket arm.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, 5'9", looking like a kid on his way to 9th grade with his fucking backpack.
So basically,
like there's
Kyler
a
Murray
difference.
without the speed. He doesn't have the
It's
feet.
like you gotta have
Call of Duty.
you gotta have something existential about you if you're gonna not go with the size. Like, yeah, there's some outliers. Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, maybe. But they all have a little bit of something about them. Russell knows how to be accurate with the deep ball. Kyler Murray can run his ass off. And, I mean, Drew Brees speaks for himself, you know.
So could put the football through a keyhole.
Yeah, exactly. But Bryce Young, it's like you're at Alabama when Alabama was Alabama, you know. You were following a trend of other quarterbacks. You were riding a very hot defense, number 1 defense in all of college football.
Most of your offense got drafted.
Your receiving
And
core,
defense.
your O-line, like you had like 6 first-round picks from your team alone, you know, that on the year you were drafted. So it's like, yeah,
At least.
Yeah, you're always going to have a great running back. You're going to have 1 to 2 great wide receivers, and you know the defense is going to be stout. So you're not really playing in difficult situations. And also you're playing college kids. When flip side, you go to a team like the Panthers, who they still have solid guys. Like I said, I liked Hubbard. Deontay Johnson's coming into form.
Mm-hmm.
Thielen, when he's healthy, can still catch.
When he comes back from the IR.
Yeah, they have pieces. The only problem is their defense isn't great, so you're always playing from behind. And when you're playing from behind, you make mistakes, big old mistakes. And if you haven't played it behind before in the NFL and been through these mistakes, your confidence is just going to be in the toilet. Now, granted, Carolina's still 1-5. They only won 1 game, the great Andy Dalton game,
Yeah.
but we're not talking about them like they're the worst team in the league, you know?
Yeah.
As we were before. If you had to pick the worst team in the league right now physically, you're going to roll Panthers still?
Carolina Panthers.
You're not going to go Vegas.
It's tough.
You're not going to go Browns.
I think if the Panthers play the Raiders right now, I would. The thing is like I'm afraid to bet against the Panthers with Andy Dalton back there because you never know when he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they just outscore the other team. Like if they're playing a team that also has a shit defense, then it's a shootout, which is what happened when they won. It was a shootout.
I see him getting 1, maybe
But-
2 more wins.
But I don't see
At best.
the Raiders. If the Raiders and the Panthers were to play right now, I'm putting my money on the Panthers. Unfortunately.
In Jacksonville? You tell me Jacksonville?
Jacksonville, they worry me because I'm afraid to bet against them because they have so many people. They're just playing like shit right now.
They're just
They're just out of their
they just
group.
look like an unmotivated
They do.
team at the moment.
Like I don't, and it could come down to the coaching where it's just.
Are they a good team
poorly
when they are a motivated team? Not really, but they're gonna be they're a bottom 10 team playing right now.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're Jacksonville. It's in their culture.
Yeah, but I guess it's just like
And bring back Blake Bortles.
I'm not seeing them as the worst. They're up there, but like I said,
I think though with this draft coming up, they need to draft another quarterback. Unfortunately, if they got a good enough pick where they can get one of those guys,
they'll get a good enough pick.
Then they need to go defense heavy. Like I think offensive wise, other than the quarterback, maybe the O-line, they're not terrible. Like the receivers and running backs alone, we don't know how Brooks is going to play once he comes off IR and he's actually gets on the field and gets touches. We'll see.
Should be this week.
But yeah, it should be either this week or next week. But Chuba's been doing his thing.
Yep.
So I don't need to worry about it. Sanders has just been non-existent ever since he left Philly, so don't even really include him. But Chuba Hubbard's been doing his thing. The offensive wide receiver, like all the wide receivers and the receiving weapons have been pretty solid when they've had their moments. Mm-hmm. Once Thielen comes back, we know he's going to, he's a 100-yard reception guy. I mean, 100 reception guy, not 100-yard reception. 100 reception person.
He's all of them.
Like, he's that safety net where he's like, when you need a bailout guy, he's there for you. And you know he's going to catch it. I was
I'm
like, but they don't have
definitely
that
looking at it. Like, here's another team.
If they get Sanders, though, because everybody's comparing, like, we've said that, and the games that I've watched both, I've only watched them play, like, twice this year, maybe 3 times. Their O-line is trash in Colorado.
Yeah.
And he still puts up over 300 yards passing most of those games. Because as soon as he's getting the ball, it's like flag football. He's literally running for his life and then slinging it downfield. But the thing is he doesn't look uncomfortable doing it. Because he's so used to it. He's probably running for his life in practice, too.
He is so used to it.
So it's like,
I feel
these
like
teams
he
that need a quarterback.
definitely ready for. So his only issue is he's got to learn to slide instead of fight for that extra yard.
Yeah.
Because Colorado State isn't going to hit as hard as fucking Denver.
It's only it's only going to take one.
Yeah. It's only going to take one hit. But at the same time, he needs an attitude adjustment too, which when he gets in the NFL, that will probably happen.
Yeah, once you get lit up one time, you'll start sliding.
What's wrong? Wait, what's wrong with his attitude?
I mean, he just thinks he's all that. Won't be that in the NFL.
Cocky. I'd rather have a cocky son of a bitch than some timid guy coming in.
He's a cocky asshole.
Yeah. I mean,
not hard to do the fact that I'm awesome.
But I mean, it's almost the same. Like Deshaun Watson was almost the same way. And Deshaun Watson had one good season. That's what earned him this contract.
No, he had a few. He was always talked about as being like a top 5 QB. Texans were, going like 12-4 and things like that. And I don't think Deshaun Watson came out as cocky. I mean, gosh, I couldn't remember the last cocky court. Probably Cam Newton, probably the last cocky one that came out, being like, "Yeah, this is me." Da 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 da. Like,
and that's considered the best quarterback in the Carolina Panthers franchise.
I mean, I still rock Jake Delhomme. I got a Delhomme somewhere. Does it fit? No.
I mean, yeah. I think he'll do good in the NFL when he gets there.
I think he will.
I honestly think that though the quarterbacks coming into because that's next year's draft, be him, Cam Ward,
Carson Beck,
Quinn Ewers.
I was like, those quarterbacks. I think this next upcoming quarterback draft could be pretty good too. It's not going to be like in years past we've had like you'll have one good year quarterbacks coming out, and then the next year's like.
Well, you're going to have a few teams that are searching, so it's like, do I see
the Jets could draft one? Because Aaron Rodgers is. I mean,
personally, I liked the kid that they drafted,
Jordan Travis.
out of Florida State. Yeah. So he's recovering. So it's like just learn under perfect situation. That's why I was like happy when they picked him up. But you got teams that are definitely gonna need New England's not gonna do it. Cleveland is just not gonna do it. And unless they can trade the contract of Deshaun Watson, they're not gonna draft one. Jacksonville, they're not gonna do it. I can see Tennessee doing it. They're like, Will Levis, you're just not what we're wanting.
And
Vegas,
his issue is more making mistakes instead of just holding on to the ball.
Yeah, but
he's trying to pull too much circuit stuff instead of just playing.
Do you send Deshaun Watson to Vegas?
You could.
That would just bring on more lawsuits.
But it's legal there.
Yeah.
He can pay him there. Not settlement money in court, pay him there.
We're talking just $150 flat rate fee. Don't ask how I know that, but $150
Yeah.
depending on where you're at.
Depending on where you're at. You might get a $250, for the more pricey one. Don't ask me how I know that either. But you send him there because he was doing his best work when he was in Houston, getting a little touchy on the side.
So here's the deal. I just looked it
Put
up.
him in Vegas.
Yeah, I know, because like Tiger Woods was winning majors when he was fucking chili
waitresses.
All of them.
Yeah.
Not just some of them. All of them.
Even like the early shit.
I mean, Cody tried to take
Yeah.
a page out of his book, but he went with Outback. He just went too fancy.
I tried. She's still doing great. I don't know if she watched it.
Is she out of college yet?
Yeah, she's of age.
that was a while ago.
She
That
was
was a while
married-
ago.
Yeah, she's married with kids now. I met her husband first. Nice guy. They're not together.
What do you mean you met him first?
Like I never ran into her again, and then I later on ran into her husband. He worked with me for a while. Shout out Tim Tom. Hi Tim Tom.
Oh, and then you realize
Wait,
who he married?
his name's Tim.
His name is Timothy Thomas.
Oh.
Tim Tom.
Okay.
Good guy.
Hey, I mean Tim Thomas.
Hey.
He was a running back, right? No, it's Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas. Yeah, I was like, I don't know Tim Thomas. I don't know who you're talking
I
about.
feel like Tim Thomas might have been a basketball player or something, maybe, but I could be wrong.
Probably something.
But yeah, in Vegas, I just looked it up. They're going to have the fourth most cap space next year. So I think you could pull that trade, give us your first rounder. We'll take the dead cap hit. We're going to rebuild anyways. Let's get our young quarterback in. Grab some crap veteran that just wants to play. Call Joe. Call Joey Flax. Indy might just be like, yeah, we don't need him anymore this year. Bring him down there. Give him one extra year of slinging the rock. Have your young quarterback learn from him. Get that extra first rounder. Spend that on some defense or offense, depending on how you want to do it. Probably an offensive weapon receiver.
Yeah, they definitely need to rebuild their receiver core there.
Yeah. And I mean, you
And running back.
if you're
They
Vegas,
really need a
if
whole
you're
new
Vegas,
offense,
you
minus tight end.
gotta go in thinking like, look, these next probably 2 years are just gonna be shit shows.
Unless you have a great free agency, like you sign everybody. Like they hit the market and you're picking them up. Because they need pretty much all new wide receivers. I mean, they have Myers still, but
Yeah.
he's been on and off being injured. Tight end, they're solid. Brock Bowers is having a great season so far.
Bowers and Mayer, you're fine
You're
there.
fine. Yeah. But running back, you got to address that.
Get that Austin Gentry guy.
Ashton Genty.
Ashton Genty, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot. Like I've been keeping up with him and like his clips, and it's not like his runs aren't like wide open, taking it.
He's
Like
very
he's
good.
breaking a lot of tackles and getting those. big runs.
They're saying like he's the next one.
Yeah,
He's
I
on
mean,
track-
he is.
he's on track
He's on
to-
pace to break Brady.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're saying like he's the next. Like, hey, you want to spend the 4th overall pick on a running back? This be it.
Yeah, it would. I honestly don't.
If you're missing a run game,
I wouldn't be upset if
don't
he
hate
went.
it.
Yeah, if he went. And of all the running backs that have came out recently, I would compare him getting drafted to like Barkley and Peterson in that range. Like they were running backs. Like when they in college, they were like, "Hey, when I come to the NFL,
top 7.
like I'm ready to be thrown in and just play."
That's what I'm saying. And if, like personally, like if I'm Jerry, just tank it this year. You're not gonna do anything fancy. Get low, get a high enough pick, go get Gentry. Boom, Genty, whatever his name is. I'm sorry if you want.
He's not teamed up with Montgomery.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
So that'd be if he did go to Detroit. You have Dave Montgomery and then Gentry.
yeah, we thought the Gibbs pick was stupid. If I saw that in the first round, I'd blow my fucking brains out.
Yeah, that would.
But no, if I'm Dallas, just tank this year. Everyone's not believing in you anyways. And then what do you got? You got a rookie running back you got a stud running back on a rookie contract, which means you're able to pay Lamb, Prescott, and Parsons. Maybe work on fixing your O-line, and then just like take a down year. You can fire McCarthy, get it over with. We all know it's happening. Bring in Bill. Just bring in Bill.
But if he brings in Bill, he's got to give over some of the power that he tries to hold.
Here's the deal. If I'm
Bill's not
Dallas,
gonna be that
I'm
coach.
Dallas, these are your two options. You're either getting Bill, and he's going to just
Take over your
bring
team.
that defense into shape and run the whole thing, or you go after Ben Johnson. You pay that man. the amount of money is astronomical. How much you pay Ben Johnson to get that playbook down there,
Yeah.
and also you draft Genty.
Yeah. I mean, he has been impressive this year. I mean, we were talking about it at work the other day, me and one of the guys at work, I was like, who do you think's going to win the Heisman this year? And I can't remember who he said, and I'm like,
Travis
really?
Hunter, baby.
I was like, you don't think Genty from Boise State's going to win? He's like, no. And I'm like, the man's already got 1,000 yards through 5 games. He's like, wait, did you say 1,000 yards? I'm like, yeah. He's already got over 1,000 yards through 5 games. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah. And it's not that he had like one huge game. I'm like, he's averaging like 180 to 200 plus yards every game and almost 2 touchdowns each game.
And the team's winning.
Because he's got 16 touchdowns total. I was like, and they're winning. And he's doing it against teams. Granted, 4 of the teams, I think when I looked at at who they've played,
It's Boise
weren't
State.
great.
You're not exactly versed.
But
in
they
the
did play
SEC,
Oregon,
but
and their only loss came to Oregon, and he still had 180-something yards and 2 touchdowns in that game.
if
And Oregon's ranked
Here's the deal.
3 currently.
they're 2 now.
2 now.
If
now.
he breaks Barry's record,
Yeah.
fold it up, put it in a package, just send it to him. Don't even invite anyone
Well,
else to
and
the
there,
show.
I saw a comparison where they were talking about the last 3 running backs to win the Heisman. Through 5 games, the closest person was Derrick Henry in stats. He had 500 yards through 5
I was about
games.
to say, who are the last 5 running backs?
It was,
to win? It's got to be
It was pretty much all Alabama.
Henry, Ingram.
Ingram and Bush.
Reggie. Yeah.
I think those are the last 3. Those are the 3 they compared to, and each one of them only had
Who's the next 2?
they had 500 or less yards,
Should look that up.
Let's go
and
back to
6 touchdowns was all
go
Henry
back to
had.
like Barry and then OJ.
Like Bo? Did Bo win on that? Or Herschel?
Herschel, maybe.
I don't know. Let's look.
Yeah, look at the
But
top
if-
last 5 running backs.
But yeah, he had
to
double
win.
the stats
Yeah.
of the last 3 running backs.
If it wasn't a
If you add
Travis,
the other ones up, it was.
if Travis Hunter just didn't exist this season, like they would have already put a bow on the Heisman Trophy and just sent it down to Idaho.
Yeah.
But because, what? I don't know where they sent it from.
I'm-
They sent it from Canada. Why
Yeah,
not?
Sure. That's it. They send it from the Arctic.
They
That's
send it
where
from
it
the
chills out
Arctic
at.
and it goes
Get your
down,
head
whatever.
out of your ass.
All right, let's go current. All right, so last running back was Derrick Henry, 2015, and then you had Mark Ingram in 2009.
Yep. Wait.
And then Reggie Bush in 2005. And then
Just give us the school. I want to see if we can get it.
And then all right, before those, then you had Wisconsin in '99.
Ron Dane,
Yep.
Ron Dane.
And then Texas the year before that.
Ricky.
Ricky
Ricky.
Williams.
Yeah.
And then Ohio State in '95.
Was that George?
Yep.
Oh,
Eddie
yeah.
George.
God, you forget about it.
Yep. And then you had Oklahoma '88. Oklahoma State. Sorry,
Oh, Barry.
Barry. Then you had Auburn.
Bo.
Nebraska in '83. This one you might not get because I don't know who this is.
Oh.
It doesn't even give me a link to click on his name.
Cornhuskers.
Yep. This is an '83, and I can't give you any hints because I don't know who he is.
What are the initials?
MR.
Dang it. I know it too. I think his first name is like Mike, right? Or is it Mark?
There's not a lot of M names that you can go for a guy, really.
Matthew, Michael,
Malcolm, Mitch,
Malcolm,
Mitchell.
Mitch, yeah.
It is Mike Rosier.
Mike Rosier, Rozier, yep.
Yep.
I thought, I was like, I feel like it's Mike.
And this is like a stretch of nothing but running backs, basically.
Perfect. I'm
From
ready.
'83 to '73.
About time.
Basically 10 years.
Let's do it.
All running back. All right, so then the previous year you had Georgia,
Walker.
Marshall.
then Southern California,
OJ.
No, not OJ.
No.
OJ was
OJ was way back.
way back.
woo. Marcus Allen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Marcus Allen.
Then South Carolina,
George
George.
Rogers.
and then Southern California again.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one I don't know this one either.
Ooh. Damn it! I'm trying to think of one. Probably didn't do nothing in the league.
I don't know who he is.
Initials.
CW.
Cadillac Williams.
It was his dad,
Oh man. I don't know. Who is it?
Charles White.
Charles White.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
No.
Oklahoma. I've heard this name. Can't really give you any hints though. A 78.
Who was a 78?
Why did Marcus Dupree come to mind?
I know, but it wasn't him.
It's not him.
It's not
That
Marcus
was my
Dupree.
first initial thought.
What are the initials?
BS.
Bullshit.
Not Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Barry Switzer.
It is Billy Sims.
Billy Sims.
White shoes, Billy Sims.
Yep. Damn it.
Texas, 77.
Earl. Campbell?
Earl.
Pitt, 76.
Oh shit. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. Why can I not think of this guy?
If I give you the initials, you probably get it. Or if I tell you the...
Oh wait, Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
Tony Dorsett.
I was like, they got one guy.
They got
And then-
one guy.
Ohio State.
That's Archie Griffin, both
Yeah,
years.
both years, 75, 74.
Yep.
And then this is what started the streak, Penn State, 73.
It's that Joe guy, whose brother like died of cancer. His little brother.
John Cappelletti.
John Cappelletti. John Cappelletti. Yeah.
Yep, and then it went wide receiver. And then you had back-to-back running backs again, OJ in 68.
Yep.
And then an Oklahoma running back in 69. I don't think you're going to get this one.
Initials?
S.O.
Oh, that's crisp. S.O. Sean O'Malley.
Steve Owens.
Steve Owens. Yeah, no, I wasn't going to get that.
Yep.
That was pretty good. I like that.
Who won it the year that Toby Gerhardt should have won it?
That
What year
was Troy
That was-
Smith, Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that proves my point more than anything.
Yep.
He ended up playing like wide receiver at Baltimore.
Yeah, and then in Canada.
Yeah. They were talking about that earlier. Was it,
CFL.
who was the other guy got drafted as a quarterback in Terrell Pryor?
Terrell Pryor.
Played most of his career as a wide receiver.
Another Ohio State quarterback.
More of a
Obviously,
returner.
they know how to pick them.
Yep, they really do. They really do.
Quarterbacks are just in between. Terrell Pryor, old Braxton Miller.
Kyler Murray could fall into that category too, but he's doing stuff.
He was short enough to where they're like, we can't even really put him at receiver. Guys.
Yeah, for Oklahoma. I mean, he was built kind of like. I mean, Terrell Pryor wasn't a big guy either. He was
6'3".
taller though. He was like
Terrell
6'3".
Pryor
He was taller
yeah,
Terrell
though.
Pryor was a big guy.
Yeah, he was
Was
big.
he?
Yeah, he's
I mean,
big
that
and he's
big.
fast.
Yeah, Terrell Pryor was.
93-yard rushing touchdown against the Steelers.
He had that stride.
I mean, he spent most of his career as a returner. I feel like some receiver, but he
Terrell
returned a lot.
Pryor?
didn't
No, he was a quarterback for the Raiders.
And played receiver for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Had a couple pretty good games.
he? Who is it? I'm thinking of.
He had
then?
1,000 yards.
Yeah.
1 year. You think about Cribbs, not Josh Cribbs, Josh Gordon?
No, Josh Gordon was just high most of his career.
Yeah, well, who wasn't? Who are you trying to think of? Like, what are you trying to think of?
I think of Mohamed Sanu.
No, I'm thinking of a.
Perfect.
I was thinking the guy I'm thinking of. I think wasn't a quarterback. He was a
Perfect quarterback.
wide receiver, but he spent most of his career as a returner because he couldn't catch the ball.
Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Ginn. Yeah, you should know that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I know he played. He was a returner for Miami, but he was a great returner.
Yeah.
He just
I
was
thought he
brutal.
had 1,000 yards 1 year.
He did have one decent year.
I
but
think, like,
his issue was is he
Carolina?
dropped a lot
He
of
was
deep balls.
he was the only option in the Cam Newton Carolina era.
No, that's true. Yeah. Actually, what did they have when he was there? Because they had Kelvin Benjamin, who was always hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and they expected him to be good because he was like what 6'7".
6'6".
Yeah,
He had 1,000 yards his rookie year.
Yeah, and then he didn't do
Yeah.
shit after that.
No.
Who was the other wide receiver they had at the same time? Another big guy.
No, he never had 1,000 yards. His best year was he had 790 in Miami.
Because there was another big wide receiver they had same time as Kelvin
Was
Benjamin.
that probably 2013 or 2015?
You had Kelvin. You
That had to be that was their Super Bowl year.
You had Ted Ginn.
Is that 13 they went to the Super Bowl?
I think so. I think
Or was
so.
that 15 when they went and lost to
I don't know. I
Manning?
kind of try to keep pounding years out of my mind,
Boom.
just due to the fact that we live in Carolina.
Ted
That's
Ginn.
all
Brandon
it is.
LaFell. Was it LaFell?
maybe?
2015, I think.
Yeah, it was
Kelvin
2015.
Benjamin
I
era.
thought it was
Corey Brown, Jericho Devin Funchess.
Yeah, Funches. That was it. Funches, yeah. Because he was another big wide
Big
receiver.
old
Throwing to
funny
Olsen.
fun.
Yeah.
Old Greggy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how these. I'm curious to see if any of the people who got traded get field time. I think Cooper and Adams,
Fonzie
obviously.
Whitaker.
He's alive.
Man.
Who do you think, if you had a bet, who do you think gets their first catch, Adams or Cooper with their new team?
Adams.
Adams.
So.
He was already at Aaron Rodgers'
Well, they have the
house.
same offense. Yeah, it's true. I didn't
He's on
see
the
that.
Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
He speaks about,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here too. Ah!
He's just standing in Aaron Rodgers' house, like when you get told, like, hey, you probably shouldn't go over to her house anymore. He's like, come on in here, show everybody who you are.
It was almost similar to the Taj Boyd, but instead of
he just
three white
comes in
women.
like, I'm here. It's like, yeah, we kind of already figured.
Who's there with you? Oh, it's just my study buddies.
Just my study group.
Kind of
Four
figured this
blonde
was gonna
chicks.
happen.
1, 2, 3. Is there another one back there?
He was that porn meme, but in reverse.
Yeah. That's the good one.
He's on the couch, and there's just 5 blonde chicks spot.
And all the dads watching ESPN are turning it off, calling their daughters. I wonder how many got the phone call right after that.
Hey, what the fuck you doing?
Just wondering how life's going up there at Clemson.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I mean,
Kinda
you have a
spending a
daughter
lot
now.
of
How
money.
would you feel in that position? You'd be in the car driving up there.
That's a 4-hour drive. That's phone call works. You can put a lot of power through the phone.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.